It's Julia Renee.
And Kendall Aaliyah. Welcome back to the Know Your Power podcast. What's up, guys? Kendall here. For those watching on video, I am indeed sitting across from someone, but it is not Julia. She is equally as badass, equally as strong-willed, equally as short. Today, we have my wonderful and beautiful mom with me. Hello. What do you want them to call you? Are you going by Mama K?
No.
What do you want to be?
Should I be that?
Yeah.
We can be.
It's like your cool rapper name. Oh, you're Mama K.
Mama K?
Mama Kendall, if you will.
That is my last name.
Some housekeeping first. I'm sure you guys have seen Julia's episode by now. It came out on Monday, and hopefully she covered this. I'm unsure. She is in the midst of moving right now, and in her moving houses also means we're moving a podcast studios. So we are completely redoing the podcast studio. Everything should be up and running and good to go by next week. We should be back together in the brand new studio. I think that's it housekeeping-wise. The other thing I want to say, and I know I don't need to make disclaimers, but clearly we are doing a makeshift podcast right now. We are sitting on a beanbag for those not watching on video, and I have two little wireless mics that it just took me 2 hours to pair to my camera, okay? So just bear with us if audio isn't normal. I apologize. We're doing the best we can. I am a bit of a mess, but that's all right because my mommy's here and that's all that matters. Anyway, okay, the actual episode today is about my mom. I feel like you guys hear me talk about her almost alarmingly too much.
You have spent most of your life with me, so I think that makes sense.
It's fine. So I want to go a little into my mom's story today because I feel like you inspire me 24/7. I would say you're my biggest inspiration when I ever doubt myself or ever, I guess, think twice about like the direction I'm on. I'm like, what would my mom do? Because you're just one of the strongest people I know. So I want to talk a little about your history, both in the fitness world, because I know you've had a long one that I feel like I don't even know all about. So I want to hear some of that today. And then I also want to go into kind of your transition work-wise, because just from my perspective, obviously you've had a much longer life than me, and I'm just like a fragment in that life. But from my perspective, to me, I know you still did at-home work, but for the most part, you were a stay-at-home mom. And now I've watched you in the last 10, 11, 12-ish years go back into the workforce and climb your way to being in one of the highest positions now at your job. And it's just so cool to see. And you just moved to California with this new fancy job, and they're giving you this whole team. And it's just a really cool transition. So we're going to go back first. And I want you to talk a little bit about your athleticism, because you've always been an athlete. You still are an athlete. And yeah, I'll let you take the wheel.
It was saying that athlete part. No, like, I mean, if we really want to go back, all right.
I feel like I know none of this and I'm so excited.
What was really, really cool. So back when I was little, there wasn't any kind of baseball or softball for little girls. Mm-hmm. There was baseball for little boys, like rec league baseball. And so I had 3 girlfriends and we all loved playing ball. And we were, I want to say about 7 or 8 years old. And we had a petition, the rec league, to allow girls to play.
Wait, that's so cute.
So we were like the first girls ever allowed into this little league baseball
So
team.
I'm curious because you have always been the one pushing me in sports that
Yes.
kind of led me to bodybuilding. Did you have anyone in your life doing that? Were your parents like on hands with athleticism? No?
No, that's a really good question. No. My mom and dad, I don't know. I was always driven to do sports. I was a figure skater when I was super little. I did gymnastics.
You were living through me.
I did gymnastics as well. I did, let's see, basketball, field hockey, which I wish I could have put you in field hockey.
I was watching field hockey during the Olympics and I was like, I get it. Because you've said that to me before.
Oh, I love
I think
playing
rugby or field hockey was me in another life.
Yeah, it's just New York, for some reason, never had it. Growing up in Connecticut, we had field hockey. So, but But I remember telling somebody one time, I'm like, yeah, I was JV and varsity basketball. And they're like, what? You're like 5'1". What? I'm like, point, hello?
Yeah.
I can make a basket. I was really good.
Okay, so you kind of like, I guess, paved your own path with fitness then.
Yeah, there was nobody.
And then I know you played softball mostly through high school, right? And also basketball? What else?
Played all through high school. I played field hockey, basketball, and softball. But softball was my main.
It's cute because, sport. Like you were saying, like you are 5'1", and in my head, very petite. So I'm like, I cannot picture it. But I also know how mighty you are and
just
strong you are.
I was pinch hitter in softball, and I was center fielder. I had quite the arm.
Fully believe you. So I also know. So that kind of brings you up until like late teenage, early 20s. I know that you were a Pilates instructor. So
I did pre and postnatal aerobic instruction. And then I also did regular aerobics. Actually, the townhomes that your dad and I lived at had a gym. And somebody knew I did aerobics, so I was teaching aerobic classes. But back then, it was the dance skin with the.
Do you have any photos?
I had the leg warmers with the Reeboks that came.
If you have any photos that you can find, I would love to share them.
But I always did. I was either weightlifting, always doing aerobics. Really, I had a group of your oldest brother. It was total, his first 1-year birthday party. I had 21 one-year-olds because they were all part of my class and became friends.
Let me tell you, I was walking with my oldest brother a few weekends ago. We went for a walk in the morning with his wife and with Cooper. And on our walk back we did one huge loop. On our walk back, we get there and there are like 40 moms, like all with strollers and or baby in hand, doing a little jog in place, getting their walk on. And I feel like that's also like such a good, like, I'm so glad you're here and able to talk today, because that's obviously a side of fitness I haven't gotten to in life. I would love to be a mom one day. And I see comments often, and we try to include mothers in the conversation as much as possible, mostly because Julia and I both know we want to be that one day. Splitting your time between yourself, which like we always say fitness is such a selfish hobby where we're pouring a lot of time into ourselves, and splitting your attention then into these other lives, and you're a mom of 4. And we were talking before this, how you have always tried to be as active as possible and include us in everything you do. Was that really hard?
No. Because what I used to do, so let's see. When Joey was little, it was perfect, right?
For context, Joey's my oldest.
So the first one, doing the pre and postnatal aerobics was perfect. You were with a bunch of other women. We would bring our babies with.
Yeah, I think that is so important.
Make them a part of the activity. So we didn't put them into a daycare. They actually were out with us, and it was awesome. So we did a lot of that, and that was for obviously after we had the kids.
I keep burping. I'm so sorry.
But oh no, that's okay.
Continue.
But yeah, so then I'll fast forward, right? By the time I had number 2, we had this awesome gym, Lifetime Fitness. That was the first one ever in Minnesota that was cool. There.
What a flex.
I would take both of them, and I put them into gym activities from a very young age. Yeah. I want to say Austin was in a commercial for it. He was like 4 years old.
I feel like I've heard this
3 and 4 years old. Joey would have been obviously like 7 or 8. He was doing like swim classes or doing whatever sports were going on at the time at the gym. I'd get my workout in, and then I'd grab them. So they were always active while I was active. They never kind of
I remember... I don't even know how old I was. I was definitely like under 10. Was it Gold's Gym? Or am I? It was such a cool gym because they had like a movie theater in there.
That was the Gold's Gym you're thinking
I remember you would bring me there, and they had like a kids club, and I would walk on a treadmill and watch TV as like a 9-year-old, which like, hello, foreshadowing into like my life now, which is crazy. But I remember that, and I feel like I'm seeing, I don't know if I see less of it because I'm not looking, but less options, or I feel like maybe things are getting more expensive to bring your kid to the gym,
maybe.
Which would be really cool to see a change of. But I do know still Lifetime And a lot of big commercial gyms do offer some sort of daycare or some sort of activity for your kids to do while you work out. And I do agree that that's like a really convenient way to still prioritize your fitness. And now your kids are expending energy too, which I'm sure was useful.
So hang on. So one of the things, you and Cameron, when you were super little, I had my group of girlfriends. And I convinced them. They did not have babies at the time, but I had you guys in a walking stroller, the two of you, like one of those 3 wheels. And we would do
I have memories
5 to 10 miles to the point where we started doing half marathons. This group of,
sick.
And we were all football parents.
I know all the moms too.
Yeah, I mean, so this was the same group that when Joey and Austin were on the football field, you and Cammie were too little yet to be on the field, but as you know, made you a cheerleader at age 4.
As soon as I could walk.
So you were thrown in, but if you remember, we used to walk the track while the kids were practicing, and you and Cameron would walk the track with us or play in the center of the football field.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I used to go and do hills with them, do lots of miles.
There's a fly. I'm so sorry. If I'm just spazzing over here, let me live.
But yeah, I mean, there's always ways. You don't have to go to the gym.
I think that's the misconception. And like, obviously Julia and I always speak to bodybuilding because it's what we know. But like, there's even like my brother does CrossFit classes with his wife because that's the most convenient time it's just in their neighborhood. They would go all the time. And that's how they found fitness. Or what you're saying, walk on a track, walk with your friends. There's so many, I actually like kind of want to get into this a little. There's so many run clubs right now. Like running is like being very heavily pushed again in the fitness space, which I feel like it was shied away from for a little bit. I want to create what I would call something along the lines of like the lazy girl run club, where it's a walk club. Like I think just getting a group together and going for like even a 3-mile walk, like you're getting your heart rate up, you're getting outside, bring your kids, bring whoever, you know? So that's something I want to get more into because I feel like there's, again, not that many options out there. Especially for, like, I'm introverted. It's hard for me to make friends. If I was a mom, I know I'd be having the hardest time trying to either find a group or feel comfortable or confident enough to go to that group, you know?
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that because it's one of those things that I wish I could speak on more, but obviously I'm not a mom yet. So it's so hard to be like, I guess this is how you would do it without actually knowing.
Facebook's a great place, by the way.
True.
That's how I
my
found
mom has so many friends, and she makes them all on Facebook. Well, she finds these groups.
Yeah, I find groups.
And they have always worked out for you. So my mom lived in Seattle for a little bit a year ago, 2 years ago. It's been a minute now, huh?
I think it's been like almost 2.5, 3 years ago. But
not 3. No,
2.5.
I went my last birthday.
Maybe it was the birthday after that. 2.5 years ago, we're going to say.
I killed the fly.
Yeah.
I got it. It landed. Okay, while you were in Seattle, though, I feel like that's how you made friends, is you started a walk club.
14
so what a good idea.
Ladies. And, but I first joined a club, and it was all stroller moms. But I didn't know.
Yeah.
Because they were like, oh, we're this, walk, jog, your choice, right? Yeah. Some of us will jog, some of us will walk, but then we'll meet up at the end. And I went to it and I was like, okay, all these women are like 20s, 30s. Let me see if there's a different club.
Which
so that's how
mentally you're there, so you're doing fine.
This is true, but then they might have been like, can you watch our kids?
Another thing I want to talk about, I accused my mom of being a stay-at-home mom before we started filming, and she said I was never just a stay-at-home mom, and I said I'm so sorry. And also, I fully recognize that being a stay-at-home mom does not mean you're chilling at home. You are working just as hard as literally any position. It is a job in itself, so I don't want to sound like I'm not saying that. And I respect stay-at-home moms a lot, and I respect how much you were able to do for me and my brothers. Like, it means the world to me, and I don't say that enough, so thank you for, because I know that's hard because you're such a, how do I say this? You love doing stuff.
I'm active.
Yeah, so sit around. I feel like she built a whole patio in our backyard one day.
It was huge, right? And I put the hot tub.
We had a above ground pool, and I came home one day, and my mom built a fire pit with a whole like rocked in patio. Amazing. And you did that in your house in Houston as well. Very impressive skill. But anyway, what I'm saying is you loved being super busy and transitioning. I also want you to talk on this because I know this is hard on top of fitness things as well. And you can kind of tie them all together if it does tie together for you. How is that transition going from more of a stay-at-home mom feel to going back into like a corporate world and now working your way up? Was that hard? Was it easy because you missed it? How was that now balancing kids on top of that and fitness on top of that?
Yeah.
Take it away.
No. It was really, actually, as you recall, we moved out to Texas together, right? And
best day of my life.
But prior to that, when we were in state college, Kendall really helped me. I had gained, oh my goodness, ended up losing 64 pounds in total.
Hooray.
Right. So I'd gotten super heavy, but sometimes you just don't realize that. And, part of it was menopause, obviously.
I also remember you telling me, and I'm just bringing this up because I know we all make, I hate the word excuses always because I feel like it's so negative, but we always say things because it justifies sometimes like how we are. And I remember you always saying, I had your oldest brother lost the weight with Breeze. I had your second lost the weight with Breeze. And then you had me and Cameron very close, kind of back to back, like 2 immediate pregnancies. And I know that happens to a lot of people where now you put on this weight where you weren't expecting it to, or it's not coming off quite as easily as when you were younger, or when your body had never given birth and things like that. And I remember you saying to me jokingly, you were like, you're the reason I'm like this.
Well, you have to remember too, I was like 30, almost 38 when I had you, right? So when I had Joey, I was 26. So huge gap.
Well, metabolism in general, hormones in general, insanely different. So was it mental? Was it physical? Was it both? And what got you to finally be like, I'm setting a goal and I'm losing this weight? Oh,
I mean, we were together in Pennsylvania and you had such heart in getting into the gym. You were doing pole vaulting.
That's where I really got obsessed with fitness, y'all. We started going before school, after school.
I mean, but that was great. But if you'll remember that journey, what we started with was you were like, all right, let's start with just walking outside. Let's get you jogging, right? So we did start with the jogging, and we did do meal prep together, which was that I want to say that probably was the biggest game changer for my weight loss was meal prepping, because when you raise 4 kids,
and we loved pasta in that household,
and food would be left on the plate, right? And they were getting like literally, I would make bacon, eggs, pancakes in the morning.
I feel like I've showed a little about how much I eat on like my own YouTube channel, but for those of you who haven't been over there, I can down a pizza with ease. My brothers are like me times a million. Like, we are all endless consumers. My mom would buy a box of granola bars, gone. Instantly gone. Anyway, I'll let you continue.
And
just giving some preface.
How Austin would hide cinnamon rolls.
We were also closet eaters, and I think all of us have a little food trauma, but we're working through it.
But, and plus, culinary was my biggest.
My mom's such a good chef. You're amazing.
I loved cooking, everything. But yeah, I think it was meal prepping. You showed me how to do portion control.
We like both downloaded MyFitnessPal together.
Yes, we did. So we held each other accountable.
I think I want to talk about this too, because we get a lot of people that write in, and it breaks my heart, that have such a hard dynamic with their family and explaining to them of this fitness journey they're on, and they're met with a lot of backlash, judgment, or people not accepting them. Do you have any tips? Like, if I came to you and if I was restarting, and let's just say you're someone that likes to drink a lot, eat out a lot, all these things, because you did always cook for us. So we were always decently healthy as a family, but let's just say we weren't. If I came to you and was like, hey, I'm starting bodybuilding and I'm doing a prep, and I'm going to start eating super clean, so I'm not eating out with you anymore. Do you have any advice for people with that dynamic of how to maybe still make that relationship work? Because we get questions a lot about like, my friends don't support me, my family doesn't support me, X, Y, and Z doesn't support me. What do I do? What would you say?
Yeah, so I had a girlfriend at one of my jobs. This is actually when I first went to my job in Danbury for General Motors. And she had seen me slowly start losing all this weight, and she did not have support at home. And she also had a lot of trauma and things of that sort. So I showed her the fitness app, right? And so I said, listen, I'll help you. Let's do it together. Let's hold each other accountable, and I'll be your support system. So I think we all have somebody that we know that we can turn to that may not be our family member, but a good friend.
Yeah.
To help, support us on
I feel like that's always the advice we give of like, not everyone is going to always get everything you do. And thankfully, I always had you, where it was like, I was so scared to tell any of my friends in high school that I was starting bodybuilding. I would find all of them on Instagram and block them immediately from my fitness account. And I knew I would come home and have my mom meal prep with me. And like, I don't want to tear up, but you just held my hand and fully supported me through all of that. And I always was like, yeah, of course. But hearing so many other people in our listener story and like your friend or some of the friends I have who are like, I am met with so much backlash or judgment over this. It breaks my heart because I fully can't imagine.
Neither can I. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
Why would you not have people around you? Like, nobody should judge you for what you want to be.
Especially if it's healthy. Hello?
Well, think about when you were in 17 magazine, right? That article. I mean, when we talk about that, you were kind of a little apprehensive because that
Extremely.
was the whole Hulk, right? Being called the Hulk.
Yep.
And I, today I feel like you'd be like, darn straight, I'm the Hulk,
For context, I had a girl try to bully me and she would refer to me as the Hulk. And it was a really touchy subject for me because I was like, I'm not big and green. It was just when I was starting to get more muscular, like that's what some people enjoyed calling me, and it hurt my feelings because I think I was already self-conscious about how big my arms were getting and the fact that other people were noticing and making comments like that. And like, I knew it didn't come from a place of them like even remotely considering how I would feel or what I was doing or that it was intentional that I was gaining muscle. They were fully trying to tear me down. So I'm okay with it now.
Can
Call
I bring
me the
up
Hulk.
the prom dress? I mean, I always liked you in the racing style,
I
right?
don't even remember this.
And
sure.
you got on for the prom and you tried on this dress and I loved it, but you hated the fact that your
Yep.
arm muscle showed, your cap of your shoulder showed.
And look at me now.
And I was like,
it's my whole brand.
You're crazy. Like, it's gorgeous. You should love the muscle. I mean, I
Yeah.
loved having arm muscle. I always thought that was so attractive.
Again, I think that's why I'm so grateful because you were always supportive of it when, like, I feel like it's not super normal to be in high school and care so much about fitness. But that's, like, I felt like I went to school because I had to go to school and I went to the gym because that's where my friends and my life was.
Yeah.
Like, it felt like the hours at school was just kind of a placeholder of like, I got to do this. Especially by the time we like moved to Texas, fitness was so much of my life that I was like, I don't care to make friends with people at school.
Well, Alpha was definitely your world.
Alpha Elite was my entire world. And we were talking about that too, to talk about a little bit about my fitness journey that you were a part of because you tied them together. I did not have my driver's license yet and would make my mom drive me to the gym 2 times a day. And you would never complain, which is insane. If my future daughter's like, drive me to the gym 3 times, no, walk, find a closer gym.
Well, let's add to, we added the 24-hour fitness place, right? So we could do the morning workout and then your afternoon.
That took me a while though. I was doing Alpha Elite twice a day for a while.
That's true, you were. And then I finally said, okay, this one's like literally down the street.
That too. Alpha Elite was like 30 minutes and a toll road away. So you were paying to drive me there but from gas, from tolls, and we would drive 30 minutes. And you were telling me before, I don't even remember this. I feel like so much of like high school and even into my early 20s, completely gone. Like, I don't know if it was trauma and it's out of my brain. But I don't even remember this. You found a gym near Alpha Elite gym for you to go work out.
Yeah, dynamic.
While I was why didn't you just come to the gym with me?
Well, because that was your world. And I didn't want to be a mom walking into your
my best
world.
Friend.
It doesn't matter. Mom should stay separate from that. It was one thing when we would do cardio in the morning together. Yeah. Like when we started going to 24-hour fitness, we would hit that every morning and then I'd drop you off at school.
Fitness Connection too.
Yes.
I remember that.
Yeah. But that was so much easier. But when you went to Alpha Elite, I know a few times you were like, look, it's okay, come in. And I'd be like, no, that's your space, your world. I wanted you to have fun and be you.
Cannot believe how supportive you were. Like that, I mean, it's crazy. It's a little crazy.
It was very expensive from the perspective of, if you were at the gym sometimes I would shop. And sometimes I would go to the gym. So on the days I shopped, I spent a lot of too much money.
I have like a few specific questions now that we're getting into my journey. Before we do though, is there anything more about you, your fitness journey, your work journey, anything you want to talk about or add that you think might be insightful?
No, I mean, the only other thing I was going to tell you is, you know, losing all that weight was game changer for me. And I know the confidence you gave me was amazing. So when we talk about corporate world, getting back into that corporate, for me, energy level, I needed the energy. And if you remember, like, we were supercharged, getting up at 4:30, hitting the gym. You'd go to school.
We were insane.
I would go to work.
Yeah.
We'd come home and we both hit the gym again.
Yeah.
You know, so we were literally double down meal planning. It was awesome. I think we supported each other. Did we get cranky at times? Probably, yeah.
For sure. Me. I won't speak for you.
I was being nice about it.
Did I get cranky sometimes? Yes.
And when you went to do your first show, it was awesome. It was so inspiring. It was so amazing.
I wanted to talk just a little more about your confidence change, because it's almost like, you know, when you think back to younger you and it feels like it's a different person sometimes, of like almost like a little sister of like, oh, she was figuring things out. Sometimes when I think back to younger you as well, like early stages of my life, you being my mom, I remember you of, and I mean this respectfully, and I'm only sharing this because of the black and white difference of it all, the starkness of it all. I feel like you didn't care about how you looked as much, and you always tried to make yourself smaller in every room we walked into. And I never understood it, because I feel like every kid is like, my parents are superheroes. I thought you were perfect always. And watching you transition, and I don't think it's actually the weight loss. I think it's the confidence you gained during the weight loss and getting back into working and doing something you love every day. I feel like you're a completely different person now, and every room you walk into, everyone is gravitated towards you. And like, that's something I idolize about you and about Julia, is like both of you are very confident, sure of yourself. You know what you're talking about, and it's contagious. And I feel like in watching you make that transition, it was easy for me to go, oh, I want to make that transition too. And I made a little caption on Instagram today just talking about confidence, because I was the most self-conscious kid. And I don't know if it was one of those things where we say a lot of things are like taught or caught. I don't know if I tried to belittle myself, because that's what I was seeing. And once I saw you start to flourish and realize how fucking badass you are, it was easy for me to follow in your footsteps. So it's just a really cool change to see. And I brag about you to every person I meet. You look like you're going to cry, so I'm not going to look at you.
No, I'm so proud. I mean, listen, every parent, their goal is to help inspire. And
you did a really good job at that. You know,
I would push all of you super hard. All four of you were pedal to the metal sports from the time you were 2.5. Oh, yeah. Had you in gymnastics. So
I think you leading by example made the biggest difference in all of us, because we watched you level up and change so much, and all in a positive way, you know, the same way some people have family members or parents or even friends that go down a dark path sometimes, and it's really hard to see that. And then a lot of the times you might get slipped up in that as well. You did like the exact opposite, where we like watched you just like continuously get better and better. And again, you were an amazing, amazing, amazing mom as a kid. So it's crazy to see you just become an amazing individual and stay an amazing mom. So it's sick.
Thank you.
Okay, now to talk about me. I do have some viewer questions that were sent in, which we're going to get to. So if we backtrack again in those questions, it just might happen. I want to ask some of my own questions first, more because I'm curious. So I wanted to preface this. I wrote these out earlier. I said, you've always supported me 100%. Like, for some reason, you've always given me your blind support. I want to know your true feelings, because it's very easy to be like, yeah, of course I would support you. I love you, right? But I want to know like your inner monologue during these stages for me, because I'm just curious. So the first thing I'm curious about is social media. I started posting fitness content when I was 15, 16, and I started posting on YouTube, like workout videos, stuff like that, like Q&As, also around 15, 16 years old. And again, you were always supportive. You helped me buy my first camera. Like, you were there through it all. And I know my brothers would make fun of me sometimes, and you'd always stand up for me, which I appreciate. were you actually thinking this is going to go somewhere? Were you thinking, oh, she's just having fun, she's a teenager, what's the harm? Like, what was your thought process? And especially how serious I was taking everything back then.
I thought it was awesome.
Okay.
I mean, for me, I was always so motivated and into fitness. So I don't know if you remember this, but, I sat down with you when you told me first that you wanted to do your first competition. And I don't know if you recall this, but this is in that townhome that was in Texas.
That was definitely haunted, by the way.
If you say so.
That's its own story.
So I sat you down and I said, okay, let's review, right? Mm-hmm. You've been an amazing cheerleader, and at age 5 you could do a standing tuck and all sorts of stuff, right? You were an amazing gymnast, and you quit that. Then you were amazing high diver, to the point of I had universities when you were in 8th grade approaching me for you.
It was very good.
You did pole vaulting. Oops, before high diving, then pole vaulting. Yep. And once again in pole vaulting, let's see, you broke a school record. And then once again, college is looking at you, and you walked away from that.
Yep.
But you said to me, hey, I'm never going to leave this. This is my thing. I really found my thing. And I said, okay, but if you're going to do it, you go all in. And you got to do it, and I don't want to see you quit. Yeah. I want it. You don't have a coach. It's just you, and you. Make it happen.
Yeah, I fully remember this conversation.
So I think when you said to me, no, this is it, Mom. I truly found this is my place. This is what I love. And it was a sigh of relief for me that you finally found your niche and what you love to do.
Yeah.
So I was 1,000% all in.
Cool.
All in.
Okay. Well, I had more questions about bodybuilding, the actual competing side too. I know you were all in, and again, always very supportive, and I appreciate that. Did you realize the work it was going to entail? Because I feel like bodybuilding's niche, and there wasn't a lot of channels like the Know Your Power podcast or our YouTube channels talking about what it entails.
Girl, do I not love Arnold Schwarzenegger? Come on.
Do you? I know nothing.
I chased him in a mall.
What?
At the Mall of America, he was filming a film. I was with a group of girlfriends who came out of this bar, and we saw Arnold and his whole entourage.
That's probably his peak Arnoldness too.
It was like Kindergarten Cop or something like that. It was filmed at the Mall of America, and we literally chased him, and we're screaming, Arnold! So I was watching bodybuilding on TV from the time I was in probably my late 20s, early 30s.
This is why I'm so grateful that we're doing this, is I had no idea. And in my head, I was like, wow, she's really supportive and knows nothing about the sport.
This is why I used to love to do barbells and weightlifting, because I loved seeing my arms, because I would watch these bodybuilding competitions.
I did not know that.
Well, there you go.
The more you know. I also I feel like bodybuilding's still very niche, and maybe it's because it's the niche world I'm in, but I forget that I feel like Arnold was the first person to make it mainstream.
Oh, yeah.
And make it cool.
Oh, yeah. And his competitions.
Yeah, exactly. Which we should go to one day. I'll bring you with.
I've seen every Arnold movie there ever was. And then
the recent one?
Stallone, too. Yes. Oh. And then Sylvester Stallone, he was also into major bodybuilding. Rocky. I mean, come on, that all came out when I was young.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, that helps me with a lot of those, because a lot of my questions were why were you so okay with this?
Because I loved working out.
Okay, I'm going to go into the listener questions now. I'll probably pause a little bit in between reading them, because I have to filter through them and make sure they're good. See, the first one is, has your mom always been super supportive of your fitness goals? Yes, weirdly so. Weirdly supportive.
Why didn't you post on Instagram today?
She's still, my mom, I will say, you text me every YouTube I upload and say, great video this week. And that makes me, if you don't, I'm it must have sucked.
But I will point out, what particularly I liked.
Yeah, which I appreciate.
So I want you to know I am actually watching it and not just saying, oh, great job, honey.
I would take it either way. Wow, a lot of people ask that. One of this says, what did you think Kenny would end up doing in life? So think back to kid me, because clearly I got into the fitness space very young. I was a teenager.
I don't even have to.
Really?
Yeah, I really used to
Still on the cards.
Used to draw these amazing gowns and clothing, and that was your happy place. That's where you would go after gymnastics. Yeah, after any sport, you would lay on the couch and doodle a design. So I really thought artist, or definitely knew I wanted to see you go into
Well, your mom's an artist.
This is true.
That is obsessed with clothing. So
and her mom was an artist.
I got it from y'all.
Also obsessed with clothing.
And then you're the one that chose sports and then put that on all of us.
All athlete. But yeah, you have a gift. I'm hoping to see fashion out of you for sure.
It is coming soon still for those asking. Still working on it. This next one's interesting. How is it being such an extroverted mom with such an introverted girl?
But see, I am an introvert. I'm an introvert, extrovert. See,
and I am too.
People always say, when I tell people I'm shy and I'm an introvert, they're like, what? We don't believe you.
I think we're both really good at putting on like almost a persona, like a confidence cloak, where we're like, pet talk ourselves, walk in there, and we can exude confidence, but we need to kind of come back to our house and be alone. You very much so love your alone time. I know that.
Yeah, and I think, though, we both agree, when we're walking to an environment that's our comfort zone, then we're good because we can pick up and converse, right? So I'm good with that.
I want to add, we were just at Best Buy. And
it took me everything to walk away.
I don't know if it's because of the podcast and the way I paint myself, maybe. I'm not that awkward, y'all. Like, I can hold conversations, but like what you were saying, when it's in our comfort zone, of course it's easy. So we're in Best Buy, we're in the camera section. I know everything about cameras. I do photography and videography. I film the podcast, all the things. I knew who I needed to find and what I needed to ask him. And my mom was going to go up for me because she was like, are you sure?
Hang on, I was this close.
Are you sure you can talk to this stranger? And I was like, yes, like I'm not that bad, y'all. But yeah, because it's a comfort zone, I could talk about cameras all day because I know what I'm talking about. When I walk into the gym, that is a different person. You will never catch me being shy in the gym because that's my space.
Exactly.
Am I still introverted and usually don't talk to people? Yes. But if I needed to, that's the one thing I could talk about for hours, clearly. That's why I can do a podcast.
Well, and you gain more confidence no matter what. As you get older, it just happens. So if, I was certainly more shy when I was your age too.
Yeah.
But as you get older, you get to the point where you're like, I don't really care what people think about me. I'm just going to be me. And if they don't like me, then don't spend time with me.
I think that too. And I feel like you become more confident when you are completely yourself. So like for me, I was always really scared to dress how I actually wanted to dress because it just wasn't the norm. Like I like really alternative style, or like, I don't even know how to describe. I've always loved all black. I love like wearing chains and rings and stuff. And is that becoming more normal now? Yes. But when I was in high school, absolutely not. You would have been looked at like, you're not wearing the newest Hollister drop. Weird. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Or like Abercrombie and Fitch. Good times. And I feel like every time I do dress, of like, what would fantasy Kendall dress like? Every time I put those outfits on, I like fully step into that version of myself because I'm being authentic to me instead of being like, I must dress like everyone else.
Hey, listen, the pink dress, that day you put that little pink dress on.
Why do I not know what you're talking about?
That had the little bows. The ones.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, what? She loves this dress, and you look so amazing in it.
I was just so scared to tap into
this tiny little strapless, beautiful little pink dress with little bows.
Still have
it. I loved it.
Anyway, okay, next question. What has she done? Love this one. Thank you so much. And if you say nothing, completely understand. What has she done to surpass your expectations?
Oh, what have you done to surpass? It was probably when you went to wellness.
Really?
Yeah, because I think the other ones I feel like you didn't have to work. Yes, you had to work hard. Don't get me wrong.
I was doing hours of cardio.
Right, because you need to be a stick figure.
Yeah, I had to get
wellness.
small.
You had to get heavy to gain the muscle. And as you know, I had a hard time with that.
I had a hard time with that.
Yeah, I was like, I don't get it, but you're like, trust me on the journey.
I think that's the one time maybe your support wavered a little.
A little bit.
For those who don't know, I bulked up to like almost 200 pounds, which granted I'm a tall girl, but it's still, you could see it on me.
Definitely get up to 198 because I remember this when you snapped the picture.
Yep. Which means I was definitely at 200 at some point, and I did not want to see those numbers. Which nothing against any weight, but for me, it was definitely out of my comfort zone. And that was, I think, the hardest time for me to ever visit you because I knew you would comment on it. And that was really hard for me.
And anytime I looked at you, you thought I was judging you. And, you know, truth be told, there was a little bit because it wasn't, I was judging.
I didn't look healthy anymore. I think that's what it was.
It wasn't so much that as I was trying to, in my head, understand, because my generation, it wasn't you put weight on to gain muscle. Like I just didn't understand it.
Yeah.
It was more so. But then when you sent the video of you pushing a Jeep up a hill, literally a Jeep.
I was getting strong.
On your own.
Couldn't do that now.
And then when we went to wellness competition, I literally like was in tears when you did wellness and you won because you went on such a journey. I would say that was, to me, probably the hardest journey.
Well, I took a full year or two to put on as much muscle as possible, which means I was eating like 3 pounds of ground turkey every day. It was insane.
Oh my God.
I was force feeding myself. And then I went through a really bad breakup with a really bad human being. And that was really hard. And then from there, I picked everything up and stepped on stage. So yeah, it was definitely like a year and a half of like, honestly more than that, because all of the bulking leading up to it, it was like 2 years where I was like, I'm stepping on that wellness stage, and I knew I didn't have the size. I knew I had to grow, and that was it was one of those decisions. You know what I used to do? I used to put it, this was before I like really had followers, so like I knew not a lot of people were seeing it anyway. I would put a picture of me next to a picture of a wellness girl, which was Francielle, because she was like the standard back then. That was when wellness was first announced. And next to a bikini girl. And I would put it on my story, and I'd have people vote which category I should do, because I would sit there and I would refresh to see if any of them would pick wellness, because I think I just needed just a little external validation to be like, yeah, you could grow into that. And as soon as literally one person voted it, deleted it, and I was like, I'm doing wellness. Like, I think I needed that like extra push from a stranger where I was like, someone tell me I could do this, because it's really easy to doubt yourself. And going into it, knowing I was going to have to put on weight, which like, we've talked about it. It's scary. I think it's scary to intentionally put on weight and then know that you're going to have to lose that one day. You're just going into a bulk and I was doing a very unhealthy, very heavy bulk. You can definitely not gain as much weight as I gained when doing so. But I went in knowing this was going to take me like 2 years. Like I went in knowing it was a journey. I think you talked about your age with me too. You know, age did play a role in that. That was so frustrating.
Of your muscle, you kept explaining to me, and I want to tell you, I think Julia was a huge help to you too.
For sure.
Because if you remember, that's when you found her and that whole group.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of catapulted you to that sense of family and having, like you say, your support people, because you lost somebody, right?
Yeah.
And went through all of that, but then you found this amazing support system.
And all of them like took me in as this like fragile little bird. I've had this conversation with one of Liv. Actually, we've had her on the podcast before. Liv is a life coach and so well spoken and knows how to articulate emotions super well. And at the time I didn't at all. And she even said this to me at the last Know Your Power retreat. She was like, I never said anything to you or wanted to say anything to you about it, because I could just see that you were a fragile little bird. Basically, I said it for her, but she was like, yeah. And she was like, you are a complete different person now. And I was like, I don't think I would have been able to heal the way I did and find this new outlet of bodybuilding, because I was competing before, but like it kind of took me to that next level where I was like, now I have a community to do it with.
Yeah.
And I didn't even see like a Liv every single weekend, but the weekends that we did these group lifts, like every weekend was more confident building to me.
Yeah.
And every time someone told me, that I had the legs for wellness or I had the shape for like any little comment stuck with me so hard that I was like, okay, other people are seeing it. I can do it too. Because we both know how extremely insecure I was through that period.
Well, and you would go to the gym and call me up afterwards and be like, oh my God, this group of 4 women, we all met. And do you know what? We weren't competing against each other. We actually were supporting each other.
Yeah.
Like we would cheer each other on. We would definitely lift each other up. There was none of this like, oh, you need this or you need that. And I think that was huge for you. That was a huge confidence
Alyssa
builder.
was also in that group and went on to, now she's an IFBB Wellness Pro,
Oh,
Julia,
awesome.
IFBB Wellness Pro.
Yeah.
So I was surrounded by really badass women, and all 3 of our physiques are so incredibly different too, that I feel like it also gave me that hope of like, yes, wellness is a certain thing they look for, but it's not copy and paste. Like you can have a different body type and still succeed in the sport. So
And don't forget, when you got on that stage and you won, they were all there, all shouting for you, cheering. And I didn't even know them at the time. And I was like, who is this huge group
they just adopted
running
me.
up to you? I mean, I think that
Julia was backstage
amazing.
with me, and we were friends at that time, but not anywhere close to how we are now. Because this was 3.5 years ago at this point, which is crazy.
Does everybody realize like you were super young too compared to all the group?
Yeah.
So I mean, it was big.
So yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah.
Those are most of the questions. Do you have any questions for me?
The only question I would say to you, number one, where do you have a vision? Because I'm sure inquiring minds want to know. Do you have a vision as to where you'd like to be in 5 years from now?
No.
Come on. You must have
I have a vision. Yeah.
You have a 3-year vision or a 5-year vision? And
I have both.
Of that. Okay.
I have a little vision board over there. So just like an overall summary, I could see myself competing again.
Mommy wants that.
My thing is like, I love bodybuilding so much, and I would do like a local show again and maybe nationals. I don't have any desire to be a competitive IFBB pro shooting for wellness like a Julia. And I love being her friend that can support her on that journey and not go through it myself. Cause that's just, I've never saw that for myself. Even when I competed in the past, I just wanted my pro card. I thought it'd be really cool to have my pro card and be like, yeah, I'm a pro. Like I won a national show. Yeah. So I could see myself competing again, but I don't think that's really my end goal, if that makes sense. That would be a cool little brag to my kids someday or something, you know? We both know I'm working on my clothing brand. I feel like that's where a lot of my heart resides, because I've talked about this before, and I've talked with you and with everyone, that it's so hard to explain. I feel like I need a new outlet that still ties me to fitness, because fitness is always going to be my love. But if it's your hobby and your job and your passion and what you film every day, and like, I just feel like I need another outlet that's adjacent to fitness. And I feel like having an activewear clothing line would do that for me, where I could still uplift other people and still use it as a creative outlet and still do my fitness and bodybuilding and have my YouTube channel where I show Kendall, Aaliyah, and have this other brand that's able to financially and creatively support me, if that makes sense. Few other goals. I would love to be a homeowner in 5 years. That's a goal of mine.
I love that.
I had another one. Yeah, I would say those are, what are your 5-year goals?
I'm going to still be working, man, for a lot of years. I love my job.
You love working.
I love my job.
I want to say, you know, there's like the saying that people like work to live. You live to work.
I literally do. When people say work-life balance, I'm like, no, you don't understand.
That?
Work is my life balance.
But you're happy like that. Some people are miserable
no,
like that.
I get my workout in the morning. I go to work. I come home. I have my meal prep already made in the fridge. And then I get back in the gym. I think it's my life.
That's why I so badly want to go into the creative side and create a clothing line. Is I feel passion for that like I don't feel for anything else.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if it's because I've been doing bodybuilding and personal training for so long that I love it, and my clients are my family members, and I love making videos about it. I love sharing my workouts, all of the things. But I feel like at the end of the day, I am more of a creative than I am.
Girl, we've been talking about clothing since you were like 16 years old. Remember we said, oh, we're going to have a gym in the back, but my clothing line's going to be in the front. And then maybe I'll do like a coffee bar and a protein bar on the side. But gotta have my clothing in the
I don't
front.
think it's a 5-year plan, but it's a lifetime plan that when it is financially responsible of me to do so, and I don't have to rely on this for my income, I would love to open a gym.
Oh, and you should.
But I don't want to open a gym with it being like, this gym has to make me money. I want it to be able to be a thing that I am able to give my community that creates more of a community, if that makes sense. So I do think that is in my cards, more of like a 10-year plan, but we'll see. If my clothing brand does really well, I'm opening a gym.
I'm gonna start the timer.
Okay.
There is no doubt your clothing line will be amazing.
Thank you so much, but you're also my mother. So.
Doesn't matter. I know what you have in you. So.
Any other questions, concerns?
No. I wish Julia was with us.
Oh, I have one more thing. How do you, again, I know you're always like, no, it's cool, but is it weird at all that people follow me and like care about us and me and what I do?
No, I love it.
Is it also weird to you that, and I know I don't get a lot, so I'm not saying that, y'all, but if I do get like hate, does that bother you as my mom?
I think what bothers me more is you let it bother you.
Yeah, I do. I was crying this week.
So at the end of the day, there's always going to be negative people out there, right? And you just got to put the negative to the side, go only and stick with the positive, as I always tell you, because the negative people, they just don't know what they're talking about. And, they're not worth your time. They're really not. They're really not worth your time. It's either jealousy or they wish they had your life or
I tell myself
whatever
that.
it might be. At the end of the day, don't ever let negativity drive who you are and what you decide to do, because there's no way you can make everyone happy. It's the same when you have 4 children. Can't make all 4 kids happy all at the same time. You can try, but it's not going to work.
We'll figure it out, though. That makes sense. That's a good place to end. I appreciate you being here and sharing some of your story. I love you too.
And I miss you, Julia.
Yeah, we miss you, Julia. What was I going to say?
And I do want one with her mom.
Yeah. We still would love to do an all-mom pod one day. You've never met her mom, which
Erica
is crazy.
And her mom on
okay,
too.
We'll do like a full friends and mom pod. That would be really fun. But thank you so much for being here, and thank you guys for listening, for meeting Mama Kay, and hopefully being very sweet to her in the comments, because she is my favorite person in the world, and we talk like every day. And my mom, I keep saying my mom because I'm talking to them, but like you, hello, my mom. I just talk about you in third person. You live in California now, which is hard with you being further away, but I still prioritize our relationship a lot, and you are my everything. So
you're my everything too, and so are your 3 brothers.
Thanks so much. Yeah, you had to include them in case they see this one day. Anyway, we love you all so much, and remember, you are more powerful than you think. Bye.
Bye. Believe in yourself.
Yes.